Hello, everyone. The recording in progress. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining. It's February the 27th. Yeah, almost the end of February, 2023. And I'm here in Costa Rica. It's 6:30 right now. And this is MEP Monday 7. And then we're here with José Guevara. And I would like to start. Yeah, I'd like to sharing a couple of slides, and then I'll pass it over to Jose. Yeah, so the title for this conversation practice is the importance of getting to know our students. And Jose, is our I4CL, Institute for Collaborative Learning. This is designed and delivered by the Institute for Collaborative Learning, I4CL, and Jose is an alum and a MEP teacher. Before we begin and pass it over to Jose, I will be sharing these 3 links. So this is MEP Monday 7. So if you would like to have access to all of the recording, the 6 sessions, MEP Monday 1 to 6. So I'll be sharing the link in the Zoom chat and also our Facebook page and Instagram page so that you can follow us, because this is one of the opportunities we have, but we have other opportunities for people to learn together and share with each other. So let me talk a little bit about Jose first before beginning the session. Jose Guevara is a MEP teacher, and MEP is the Ministry of Public Education here in Costa Rica. I am based in Costa Rica, and Jose teaches in Coto Brus, Costa Rica. He has been teaching for the last 14 years, and he holds a bachelor's degree in education. But Jose took the SIT-TESOL Certificate course with us with the Institute for Collaborative Learning in 2019. That was our last face-to-face SIT-TESOL course before the pandemic. During the pandemic and after the pandemic, we've been online, teaching the same course and other courses, everything online. But hopefully, going back to face-to-face experiences. Jose also took other certification, teaching certification in early childhood, elementary education, and high school education. He has true passion for working with young learners. He enjoys supporting his students, developing different life skills, including academic, social, emotional, and motor skills. So we are so blessed to have Jose today talking about getting to know, or the importance of getting to know our students. I pass it over to Jose. Thank you so much.
Jose. Thank you, Ivan. How you doing, everybody? Good evening. Am I the one who's blessed for being here today? And thank you for inviting me. And it's an honor to share with you some ideas, or some of my ideas. Getting to know your students, or getting to know our students, is something that sometimes is difficult to do so. Not just for timing, but also for size groups. Sometimes here in Costa Rica, and I'm going to talk about Costa Rica because I know that we have people from some other places, and groups are sometimes big. And we have 30, 33, 34 students in a classroom. And sometimes getting to know every single student is a hard task to do so. But we could, if we follow some simple steps. And that's what I'm here to share with you this fine evening. So I could start sharing my screen, right, Ivan?
Yeah, go ahead, Jose. I can see your screen now.
Okay, thank you. And you can hear me fine, right?
Correct, that's great.
We are good, okay. Okay, thank you once again. Today is the month of 7th. Importance of getting to know our students, our topic. And when I was invited for this MEP Monday, I was thinking about what should I talk about and what could help my colleagues into getting better in doing their jobs. Just came up to my mind feelings, because sometimes we don't know what kids go through in our classroom. So that's what I'm here about and to talk about today. Importance of getting your students. My teacher, Jose. I want to start this whole chat with one word, empathy. Yvonne and everybody else, we've heard this word 1,000 times. We've been to workshops, we've been to WhatsApp groups, we've been to live and visual conference, and they'll talk about empathy. Am I mistaken? No, right? We've been listening to this word for years and years, right? And we'll come up to one or two definitions. Put yourself into in someone else's shoes, listen, open your heart, open your mind, open your eyes, open your ears. That's the whole thing about empathy means. So when I even ask you, what do you think about empathy? Because we already know what empathy is. And we could say that empathy is seeing with the eyes of another, listening with the ears of another, feeling with the heart of another. That's what empathy is. And like I mentioned before, I'm not gonna even bother asking because we all know what empathy is. But here's my question. Okay, before I go to my question, we are bumped with codes, we're bumped with definitions, with images, with pictures. Even Obama mentioned about empathy, right? Everybody mentions this, but here's my question. Here's my question, Ivan and everybody else. Do we have enough courage to display it? What do I mean by this? I'm gonna give you a minute or two just to think about this question. Are we ready for it? Are we ready to dig into empathy, like the whole meaning of the word? Or we could say just, I have empathy for my students. Do you have enough courage to have empathy with your students in your classroom? With 33 students in a classroom? Do you? I don't know if we could open some mics and hear some answers about these questions, Ivan.
Right, and we can also use the Zoom. We can use the Zoom chat to share answer the question, or you can open your mic.
Okay. Okay, you want? Okay, or you can just, okay. Here, I think we have an open mic right now. Do we have enough courage, guys? What do you think? Are you ready to be open-minded, fully open-minded with this word? It's a hard task to do, Ivan. And I mentioned it at the beginning, timing is one of our biggest enemy. And then group size as well.
Yeah, I like what you're saying, Jose, that it's empathy, it's a word we know. We have attended sections and workshops, and it's just about putting into practice what living empathy involves, right? In this case, courage.
Exactly, Ivan. Thank you.
Hello, Mary. Mary has joined us. Welcome, Mary.
Hello, Mary. Welcome. So, guys, before we carry on, I have this right here. When we think about empathy, it's one of the central beliefs that bring us together as an educator, as a teachers. Why is this? Because filling your kids' minds with knowledge is not enough. Filling your kids' minds with a whole material that you can give them every day is not enough. But supporting their minds, supporting their bodies, and carrying out for their hearts.
En caso de gente pidiendo su entrada.
That's one thing that we need to care for. It's a critical element in our jobs. Holding our students' hearts in our hands is a very critical element or aspect in our jobs, Ivan, and everybody else. And sometimes we forget that. It's very simple, okay? How can we get to know our students? That's a question that we're going to be working on in a minute or two. But start thinking about it. And if you want, just write down in the piece of paper, how can you get to know your students without doing your job, without leaving your job on side? Because we need to teach, we need to work. Because then our principal is going to come and tell us, hey, what have you been doing this whole month? Just getting to know your students? That's not part of your job. But actually, that's one of the biggest aspects in our jobs. Get to know your students. Before even try to teach them anything, get to know your students. I'm going to ask a question, and when I'm going to throw it here, and maybe you can type it in the chat, and perhaps Ivan could read it out for me if anyone has a question. How do you greet your students every morning? How do you greet your students every morning? So maybe one or two participants have an answer, Ivan. Maybe they can just type it in the chat. Maybe you can just read it for me. How do you greet your students in the morning or in the afternoon, regardless? For instance, Ivan, how will you greet the students?
There's a Keisha in the chat. She wrote a good morning. They recite their mantra. I guess good morning for her. I guess.
Okay.
I forgot what she was. They recite the mantra.
Okay. She'll just greet everybody. Good morning. Okay. Anybody else? We don't have anybody else yet. Okay. Simple. Okay. Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing today?
In the chat, Jose, Krisha also said, and I spend a few minutes to just get to know how they are feeling.
Okay.
Beautiful at the beginning of the day.
Okay. With happy faces, perhaps, some happy gestures, emotions. So here's one very simple thing to do in the morning or in the afternoon when you greet your students, Ivan. Something that is not going to take more than 2 minutes. High five. You can high five all your students before they enter the room. You can even high five them or like pound a little bit. With that greet right there, you're going to notice how the kid's feeling that day at that very moment with a high five or with the pound. And that's something that doesn't even take 2 minutes before entering a classroom. And that's something that we might not even think about it, but it's very useful. Or sometimes you get into your classroom and the kids are already sitting there. Kids sometimes are already sitting there in the classroom once you enter the room. So same thing. Go around the lines or around the circle. I don't know how you're seating your kids, but go around and high five them, everybody. Pound everybody. You're going to see their face. You're going to see their reaction. You're going to see their body language. Because sometimes it's not what they say. Most of the time is what they don't say.
I'd like to add, Jose. So Livia Gamboa shared that she greets students with a big smile in a general way to the class. And sometimes I ask about their weekend, like a Monday, I guess. I say, how was your weekend? And then you get to know more about how the weekend was with students.
Exactly. Very good. Thank you, Ivan. So here's another question. And that's where I need everybody's participation, either in the chat or we could do some breakout rooms, Ivan. Okay. I don't know how many people we have. We could take a couple minutes.
Yeah, around 11 people right now. We can create breakout rooms too.
Okay. Being in someone else's shoes might not be the answer. Why is this? At the beginning, one of the slides, it said, empathy is seeing with someone else's eyes, feel with someone else's heart. That's what it said. But is that really the answer for our question? Is it? Why do you think it might not be the right answer? So that's my question. So help me out, Ivan, during the breakout rooms. Perhaps 2 minutes. I don't think we need more than that. Just to throw some ideas with the participants this fine evening.
So I'm gonna create, how about 4 minutes? Creating 2 to 3 participants in each room, so everyone has opportunities to talk for 5 minutes, for 4 minutes, I mean. Is that okay?
That's fine, Ivan.
Yeah,
that's
like
great.
All right.
Why do you think, that's my question. Why is this the answer? Being in someone else's shoes might not be the right answer? Or what do you think? That's my question. Thank you, Ivan.
All right. So have a conversation, short conversations in breakout rooms for 4 or 5 minutes, and then come back and then share your answers in the large group. Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy breakout rooms.
Share it. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, and welcome back, everyone.
Okay. So that was my question. And being in someone else's shoes might not be the right answer. Why? I don't know if anybody can help me out answering this question now that you already spent some time with some other participants and some ideas.
Jose.
Yes.
Hi, how are you doing, Jose?
Christine, hello, Christine.
Pretty good. Josecito, I was saying that being empathetic is not enough. It is being compassionate and saying, what can I do for you, and acting. It is not only saying, yes, I understand what you are going through. It is, what can I do as a teacher? Or as Tisha said in my group, that only like connecting with the student, that she looked at the student and the student cried only without talking. So I think it's important to go beyond understanding. It is not only understanding or being in your shoe, in the other person's shoes. It is, what can I do for you? Thank you.
Exactly, Christine. Thank you. Anybody else?
Hi everyone. Christine and I were together and we were talking that for me, it's having a good rapport with my students. So I know my students. I walk into a class and my students, a particular student might look sad and I needed to know something is wrong. I was sharing with her that, a week or 2 ago, I walked in a class and a student was not looking her sharp herself. I said, hi, how you doing? And tears welled in her eyes. And I'm like, okay, let's take a walk outside because the other students are engaged in an activity. And as soon as I stepped on the corridor, she just hugged me and started crying. I never had to say anything. She just cried and I stayed there for a few minutes. Other students passed and I was like, what's happening? But by the end of the day, she said, "Thank you, miss. I never did anything. I was just a shoulder to cry on." And that made a difference for her.
That make the difference. You were there. That was enough. You were there. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'd like to add, Jose, what Keisha is saying. It's not only empathy. It's not putting myself in the shoes, but it's doing like a superpower. I remember Mary was saying empathy and mindfulness being like different wings to fly. And I'm thinking the idea of having superpowers, having more than one power. You know, the Avengers, they have one power, the superhero, but having me with different superpowers. So it's just having good rapport with students, empathy, connection, understanding. So it's just more and more skills bringing into the classroom. So it's not only connecting, but there's more power to bring.
Exactly, Juan. Thank you. I don't know if there's anybody who wants to share their idea. No?
I would like to share something else.
Sure, my friend. Go ahead.
I like the opinions that other people were saying about this passion about teaching. And, you know, like being empathy with students is not only that, something that I do, and I think that it works very good with my students. Every class that I start, I draw some emotions on the board, and I call the student, "Hey, just click on the drawings, and I want to verify, and I want to check your emotion for today." So some of them click on excited, others on happy, others on sad. So I try to match all emotions about my students and create different strategies, you know, like singing, playing, or reading. And at the end, some students give me a feedback like, "Hey, teacher, now I'm trying to feel well because I think that you match with my emotion. I think that you have a lot of empathy with us." So as one of the teacher mentioned, it's not only saying, "Yes, I understand you," but also try to look for other strategies. So I do agree with the first woman that shares some opinions about this.
Thank you, Vismar. Thank you very much. And thanks everybody else for your ideas. And thank you, Ivan, as well. Being someone else's shoes might not be the answer. And you guys have the right answer. Go beyond, because I cannot feel what you're feeling. What was her name? This lady Johnson, I think she was the one talking. And she mentioned she was just there for the girl, little girl, like to be a shoulder so she could cry on. She wasn't feeling what the little girl was feeling, but she was there. I cannot see what other person is seeing. That's a lie. And I cannot hear what other people are listening to. Like I can't. Because I might see you as a superhero, but this little kid is seeing you as a dragon, as an ogre. So I cannot feel what you're feeling. That's a lie. So empathy, it goes beyond there. Beyond that. It's more than just saying what you guys mentioned. "Oh, I do understand what you're saying." That's a lie. And that's something that we've been taught, and something that we've been told for years since we were studying to become teachers. Oh, be empathize with your students. Understand their feelings. Guys, you cannot feel what a kid is feeling at ceremony. But you cannot feel what they feel during school day. They might be hungry. They might be sad. They might be hot. They might be cold. And this mentioned, going through the emotions phases, that's something that will help you discover more and get close to your students. That there's something in the file, something that you can read in the piece of paper. Thank you, everybody. I loved your ideas. So what's the importance? What is the importance of getting to know your students? We already talked about empathy. We already talked about how can we get or engage with the students, going beyond just a good morning or hello. But how do we really get to know our students? I don't know if anybody can help me out reading these 3 lines right here. I don't know, I lost the camera, Ivan. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I can see you and I can hear. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. Something happened. Let me see. Okay. Sorry.
What are you looking for, Jose?
It's not. It's not.
I can share the slides if you want me to.
Can you? Because something happened.
Yeah,
It just
absolutely.
froze. Just
No,
froze
absolutely.
right now.
I can share the slides, and I also share the Zoom link in case you have colleagues and friends who are wondering where the link is. As Mary was saying, it might be something happened with by sending the email or the internet or the Gmail. So that's in the chat. You can find the Zoom link of this session in case you want to share with friends and colleagues. You can join us. There you go, Jose. That was the next slide.
Okay, hold on. I lost you guys. I know you can hear me, but I can't.
Oh, I can hear. I can see you.
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Oh no.
But that's
can you
fine.
see
That's
the
fine.
Can you see the slides?
Yeah, I can see the slides.
Okay.
But the slides, I can see your slide.
Okay, that was the previous one, and this is the next one.
Okay. Hold on, let me see. Okay, the importance of getting to know our students. I don't know if you, Ivan, if you can help me reading out the first line.
Yeah, it says knowing what they already know.
Knowing what they already know. What do they mean by this? Knowing by what they already know. Ask your students what they like. Ask your students where they've been for the last couple of days. Ask your students their favorite color. Ask your students if they have a puppy at home. That's knowing what they already know. Emphasize with their feelings, with stuff that they have at home, with their favorite toy, something with their favorite soccer team, perhaps. Can you read next one, Ivan, please?
Yeah, being understood.
Oh, my God, big word, understood. I do understand what you're going through. That's a lie. When we talk about being understood, that kid might be struggling in that academically way, and you use teaching, and you have 33 students in your classroom, and that kid is falling back because he's struggling with the learning. But once you understand why that kid's struggling, then he's gonna overcome that barrier right there. He's gonna get better and better every day because he's gonna know that you care for him. He's gonna know that you do understand what he's going through. He might not be having a good time at home, He might be hungry. Some of our kids, they go to school without eating anything at home. And they go to our schools, and that might be the only meal they have during the day. So understand, why are they struggling? Is it something physical? Is it something emotional? So do understand them. It's something that we need to learn how to do. And can you read last one, Ivan, for me, please?
Yeah, sure. The last one reads, the students feel it is important for the teacher to know them.
Feel important. How important is to feel important, Ivan?
That's big.
How important is to feel wanted and loved? How many kids struggle at home, or they're lacking of loving and care, and they come to class, and that greet that you're gonna give them that day, that might be the nicest words they'll hear all day long. The way you treat them in those 40 minutes or 80 minutes a day that you see them, that you get to see them, might be the nicest way they're gonna be treated during that day. Get to know students, likes and dislikes, what they like to eat, where do they live. I know that we can't go and visit our kids. We have too many kids. We don't have time. Ministry of Education won't pay for that. But knowing where your students are coming from, how they live, where they live, who they live with, will guide you to understand why they struggle, why they might be sad, why they might be hungry. So that's something that we need to know, or something that we need to do in order to get to know our students. Know a little bit of their background. Because I might take my attendance list and call the roll every morning. And that's what basically we do. Because I need to put a check mark to the kid that is absent that day. But do we really know why he didn't come to school? Do we really know what's going on? Do we really know if that kid is sick, or he don't feel like, or she doesn't feel like coming to school? Maybe because he's been bullied. Maybe because you said something that make him or her feel bad that day or the day before. We are human beings, and we do make mistakes. And as a teachers, we make a lot of mistakes. But when you get to know your students, and when you get closer to them, you're gonna stop making mistakes. You're gonna start getting closer to them. Can we go to next, Ivan, please? Ivan, we there?
Yeah, can you see it? It's in the next one. That's the next one.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. One of the most important aspects of teaching is building relationship with your students. Bond with them. It doesn't mean that you're going to be their best friend ever, but bond with them. This is going to influence the kid in the positive way. This is going to make the kid feel loved and wanted. You want them to be there. But one of the most important things, in order for your students to feel wanted or to feel loved, is you as a teacher feel it right here and believe it within yourself before you even transmit that into someone else's. You need to transmit that. They need to feel like you really care for them and that you really worry for them in order to bond and to build relationships with your students. We go to the next one, Ivan, please. Thank you. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this Pygmalion effect. Our actions, our beliefs is the reflect of how they react, is the reflect of how they approach the learning process. That's how they approach being in school all day. That I mentioned it before, the way you greet your students in the morning might change their day in the positive or negative effect. What you said early in the morning to that kid is going to mark his day at school. It's going to mark how he feels at school that day. Cause and effect. That's how we call this effect. We need to be careful how we approach our students. We need to be careful and go beyond how they feel that day. Because every day is different. Not every day is the same. And not every group is the same. Because Ivan and participants, I have 2 groups. And I go and ask Ivan, what do you think about group A? And Ivan might be like, oh, that's awesome. Those kids, they're the best kids I ever had. They all participate. They're always in a good mood. They have no problems at home. I love those kids. Ivan, how's group B or group number 2? Oh, Jose, sometimes I really don't feel like working with that group. Those kids are troublemakers. They make too much noise. They're always screaming. They don't like to participate. They don't work at all. And there's something that like, that's weird, Ivan, because both of those groups, they work fine with me. I have no problem with either or. Sometimes we let ourselves go with what someone else has said about a kid or a whole group per se. Stereotype a group or stereotype a kid. That's one of the mistakes that I was talking about before that we make as teachers. Oh, do you know how Ivan is at home? Oh, I'm sorry. How Ivan is at school? He's a great kid. You might be asking somebody else. He's a terrible kid. We're talking about the same kid. We're talking about Ivan. We're talking about Mary. And I have a different perspective of Ivan, of Mary, of Bill Bismarck. It's the same kid, but we all see it differently. We all see it differently. Ivan, can we go to next, please? That's what I was saying. Wow, my teacher says I will pass. And that little girl's thinking, that teacher approached me this morning and talked to me nice. And he was very kind. And he was very open-minded. I definitely going to pass. People are influenced by the expectations built upon them. And that's something that we fail to do every day. Positive words, positive actions lead to positive actions. Positive phrases leads to positive results, cause and effects. That's what all this is about. And we have mentioning before, and you guys did mention it before. Oh, I do understand what you're going through. It's not enough. It is not enough. That's why we need to go beyond the box. Can we go next, Ivan, please? Here's a few things that you guys might know already, but some things that we really know importance of our students. I don't know if you can help me reading the lines, Ivan, please. I hope you don't mind.
Absolutely, Jose. I can read that. So there's a few things that are really important about my students. And the first one says, it is important for us to know our students.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, keep going.
Teachers who know how their kids learn can guide them and lead them to grow in their learning.
Exactly, we have mentioned it before. You approach your students, you do understand they're struggling per se, and their learning is just gonna grow every day more beautifully. It's gonna give the flower that we might just hold in our hands. Go ahead, Ivan.
The next one reads that teachers who know their students as unique individuals can help them navigate the often confusing and anxiety-filled lives they lead.
Exactly. Those groups that are so big, per se 33, 34 students, it might be hard to know as individual, but you know every kid is different and every kid has a name. At the beginning of the year, and that's, I think that happens to all of us, it's hard to learn students' names because there are too many. I might have 30 students and multiply that by 6, because I have 6 groups, right? That's 180 students. It's going to be very difficult to learn their names in the first 2-3 weeks, first month. But once you start calling your students by their names, they're going to feel important because they already know, oh, the teacher already knows my name. And that's an individual. And they're going to feel good. And they're going to feel wanted to be there and love. Can you carry on reading, Ivan, please?
Yeah, next one is getting to know our students brings joy.
Okay. Our job, I believe, is the most important job in the whole universe. Teach little kids, teenagers, even adults. Bring us joy. Fill our hearts with joy. That satisfaction that we as a teachers get when we know that students feels good, when students feel good, when they feel wanted, when they feel loved, when they wanted to be in your classroom. Hey, teacher Jose, yes, yes, teacher, are you coming tomorrow, teacher? Are you coming tomorrow? Okay. They're gonna feel good about it. One thing that we could do is play with the kids. Bring yourself to their level when you're playing with them. Either a board game, either soccer at the field. You can even play tag with them, hide and seek with them. You're building a bigger bond with them. And that's gonna bring joy not just to your students, but to yourself. And the last one, Ivan?
And the last one, it says, getting to know our students is an ongoing process.
Our ongoing process. It's a process. The word itself says it's a process. Little by little, step by step, are we gonna get there? We're gonna get to the other side of the offense, because we are getting to know them a little bit every day. We go to the next one, Ivan, please. Thank you. We can start wrapping up those whole ideas.
You want to share the quote, or you stop sharing, Jose?
Oh,
Can you see the quote?
no,
I can
well,
stop
we already
sharing too.
okay, no, you can stop sharing if you want. Okay. See my screen. I have it in my screen. That's why.
All right.
Yeah.
So I stopped sharing. Hey, Jose,
Okay.
it was interesting to see what I'm getting from this section, Jose. It's students are human beings first, and we see them
For
as
anything
human
else.
beings, right? And by getting to know our students, they are seen, heard, understood, heard, loved, and that's a beautiful experience. Because I have two daughters, and one of my daughters has shared with me that she is not seen, she is not heard, understood at school, and I would love to have a classroom, when she's been seen, heard, understood, and loved. Yeah, so that's beautiful. It's like getting to know our students has an impact on students. And one of the impact, not only on the students, but the teachers, like you said something about gaining perspective, right? The more I get to know my students, I have different perspective, right? Oh, I understand who they are as they are. So one question I have, Jose, and maybe I can ask this question now, is what are some of the challenges you face when getting to know your students?
Okay, Ivan. Well, not just me, but I think all teachers in Costa Rica or some other parts of the world. One of the biggest challenge is timing. Clock is sticking. Time is running out. I can't talk to everybody at the same time. Please, everybody sit down. Okay, that's one of the biggest challenge. The size groups is one of the also challenge for us. Your attitude as a teacher, your willingness as a teacher is a big challenge. And that's something that we face every day. Because you just mentioned before, you have two daughters. And one of them already spoke out, right? And you as a father, you worry about it, right? You do
Right.
worry about it. And all of us who are parents, we do worry about our kids being in the classroom and how they're being treated. How do they feel? So that's one of the biggest challenges we have. When a kid approaches a teacher saying, I feel sad, I don't feel good, I'm sick, a teacher is our dedication, is part of our work. And let's not say it's part of our work, it's part of us as a human beings. Take the 2, 3, 4 seconds and listen to the kid. Just listen to the kid. Because that line, that phrase, or those 2 lines that kid is saying at that moment, that could change not just his day, but it could change his life. And something that I like to read from Maya Angelou. People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But Ivan and everybody else, people will never forget how you make them feel. Maya Angelou. So make your students feel loved, Make your students feel welcome to your classroom. Make them feel important. Make them feel like, okay, I belong here. I want to go to English class. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, I do. Okay. They're going to be happy to see you. They're going to be like, hey, teacher, hello, teacher, hello, teacher. Very common song. Sing along with them. Play with them. Jump, scream. Regardless if the other teacher in the next classroom is going to come and knock at your door. Hey, you're making too much noise. Hey, I'm in my class right now. I need to scream with my students. Feeling what they're feeling is never going to happen. But feeling with them what they're feeling, that's going to happen. And that's what we need. That's what we need to learn. Not feel what they feel, but feel with them what they're feeling. And that's when you get not just to know your students, but to understand your students and to understand your line of work. So that's my presentation, Ivan, and everybody else and participants. Saying thank you very much. I hope this will help you in your classrooms. I hope this will give you a different perspective of how to get to know your students a little better, at least some of them, because like I said before, we don't have time to know all of them. Thank you.
We have a few more minutes, and maybe there's room for questions or comments.
Sure, definitely. If you guys have any questions,
so you can open your mic or use the chat box.
Okay.
And
it
write
could be
your
a question
questions,
or it could be a
Jose.
comment, Ivan.
Right.
Something that you like to share.
Hi, Jose. Thank you very much for your presentation. It's been great.
You're welcome.
One of the things Ivan just asked you, what are some of the challenges we face? And I will say one of the biggest challenges we have faced in our school, one of the schools I work, is the lack of help we receive from the Minister of Education, regardless of a specific attention to a student. For example, psychological attention. So if our students have needs that we can fulfill, for example, maybe a student needs clothes or new shoes, food. Those are things that we can work together and provide. But there are some situations which we cannot manage. And it's very sad because we do a lot of things. And when we talk about a student that needs psychological attention for any reason, either domestic violence, drug abuse, I don't know, some kind of illness, we face a wall here in Costa Rica. And we get lost in the whole protocol trying to get the help. So we send paperwork to a specific agency, and the paperwork comes back rejecting the student for any reason. And then we send it to another place, and then we wait month after month, maybe 6 months. When they come back, they sit, they look at the file, they don't even call the teachers, they don't interview the student, and they just make paper and paper after paper recommendations and say, well, deal with it. But it's like impossible sometimes to get the psychological attention that some students need. And we have talked about a lot that each school should have psychologists at least coming once a week, maybe twice a week, to help those students, help the whole school trying to get along in a better way. So that's my experience as a teacher, and we have dealt with that. We're still dealing with that, and we still haven't gotten the help we need. Thank you.
Totally agree with you, Mary. Totally agree with you. There's something that's out of our hands. But You cannot solve the world for everybody, to all your students. But at least emphasize with them. Feel their fear, feel their love, feel why they're scared. Get to know them. It goes beyond, okay, they need clothes and they need food, they have problems at home, yes. But do you actually know what is that kid going through? Or you just filling out papers?
Yeah, we do know. We
Okay.
have the whole
There's
situation.
a lot of bureaucracy, I'm sorry. There's a lot of bureaucracy here in Costa Rica.
And that's why we need the psychologists to come in, and we don't know how to just, we don't know what else to do to get it.
Yeah, we don't know how to deal with those situations.
No, because
we're not professionals in those fields. Exactly.
No, and we have the PANI intervene. We have done many things at school. I remember when I was taking the course last year, that was something that I talked to Ivan. And we had, one of the first session was helping our students to fill their needs. Remember, Ivan? And you talk about something called, I forgot the name, compassionate communication. Remember, Ivan? That was one of the first, and that was really helpful to me. We started doing building community as we did in the course, and that helped a lot. We started doing things that before the class, like Ivan said, before teaching, connecting. So that was very helpful, and he has improved a lot. But we do think he needs that support from a professional, because he's going through a lot of things. Like you said, we are not a psychologist, we're not professional in that area. And we don't want him to get lost in that environment that he's going through now. So yeah, it's difficult to, when you have a situation that goes beyond your power, have someone to come in and actually do something. It's very complicated here in Costa Rica. So that was one thing that maybe in a future we can talk to the Minister of Education and try to get at least someone to come to each school once a week.
We'll definitely need to pray for that.
Also, I would like to add, I would like to add to what Ruth Mary was saying. What you were saying, Jose, that some of the challenges I got from you is time, because maybe the number of hours you teach per week, it's limited to go beyond content, right? So connect with students, and also content to be covered, right? Because you have, different objectives and goals to achieve with your students, because there will be assessment and maybe tests. So they need to pass the test. And what I'm getting from Romero is we teachers need to develop some skills, right? To hold space for our students and for ourselves, right? So maybe one idea would be with teaching programs, university offering teaching programs. What skills, does a teacher need to develop in those programs? So when they go into the classroom, they can see, maybe we're not psychologists, we're not therapists, but we can understand, what's going on in the classroom. And also what Romero is saying is, once I know what's going on inside of a student, what else I can do, right? It's just going beyond and understanding and getting to know students and, what else to do. Thank you. I see Christine has raised her hand.
Yes, I just wanted to add that it doesn't matter how much we have to teach, how many contents we have to provide to our students. I always take some minutes of my class to do a community builder, to talk to my students. This is important. If we say that we are not doing like this connection with our students because there is too much to teach, well, I think that we are not going on the right track. I think that our students deserve 10 minutes at least if you teach, or if you see that group twice a week, take 5 or 10 minutes to do a community builder over there, just to ask your students how they are, or maybe if they can have the chance to talk to each other. So I think that this is not an obstacle, like having too much content or too many things in the curriculum or syllabus is not an excuse, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if I made myself clear.
Yes, you did. Yes, thank you, Christine. Bound with your students. Build those relationships with your students. Take those couple minutes, like you mentioned it, for your students, and with your students. Not for you, not for the teacher, with and for your students. That's very important. Bond with them. You could do a lot of stuff. You could do a lot of community building to get to know your students better. I think Bismarck opened up his mic.
Yes, Jose. Something comes to my mind. I think that we need to make our students that they are the main character of the classroom. You know, as you say, like build a close relationship with them. So Christine said something true. At the beginning of the class, or maybe at the end of the class, we can talk to them and create like a community. You know, like interacting and telling, hey, I am your teacher, but I am not only your teacher, but also your friend that you can trust, and we can solve problems, and you can come to the teacher classroom. If you have some problems, we can fix it at the end. So just like to make them feel important, as you said in your explanation.
Definitely, Bismarck. Thank you very much. Keisha.
Hi. I have been teaching for over 15 years, and some time ago, I made the decision, not such a popular one, where, supervisors and administrators are concerned, but I made the decision that I was going to look out for my students, treat them as, and then everything else would come after.
I'm sorry, I lost you there at the last part.
Are you hearing me?
Not
really.
very well, Krisha.
Hold on. Let me see what's happening. Let me disconnect my earphone.
I know you're talking, but we can not.
Hearing me?
Okay, now I can, but now we could.
Okay, good. All right. No, I was saying that, I made the decision, not such a popular one, years ago, that I would look out for my students first, treat them as individuals, because sometimes supervisors and administrators, they have what they expect of you, yes. And for most part, from my experience, I find that for the most part, they always push the content. They want you to complete the content. And it doesn't matter what happens, the content must be completed. But I made the decision, as I said years ago, that if I could allow my students to become better individuals who have gained a little content or a little of the material that they should be taught, but in the long run, they will become holistic individuals, then I feel like I would have succeeded at something. So I know sometimes the challenges are there, and we get it from administrators and supervisors as well. But we need to remember that our first job or first inclination as teachers must be to look out for the best, the good of our students. And I think that if we look at it like that, we will find the time to teach the content, because we don't want to lose our jobs, don't get me wrong.
Of course not.
We have to put our students first, just the same. Thanks.
Exactly. They ask us to cover the content, to cover the content. That's what they tell us to do. But they don't even think about our students. And you said it yourself. Well, you make your own decision, and you said, no way, Jose. I'm going to spend some time with my students before covering some more content. And that's something that I congratulate you for that. Thank you, Kishan. I think you're doing an awesome job. And I would love to be one of your students as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jose. Thank you, everyone, for attending and watching the recording. So the Institute for Collaborative Learning is creating this opportunity for teachers, for regular teachers like Jose and Ivan and Keisha and Rosemary, Olivia and Janet, and everyone else to come get together and share and learn from each other. So it was a great opportunity for us to start talking, because I said start having this conversation and going on into our classrooms, like the importance of getting to know our students, the impact we have on students when we see them, when we hear them, when we take care of them, when we love them. So thank you, Jose, for the opportunity. We'll be sharing the recording in our YouTube channel that I will share in the Zoom chat. So thank you, Jose, and thank you, everyone. Enjoy your day. If it's not the night, so enjoy your day, and good night, everyone. Thank you, Jose.
Thank you, Ivan, and thank you, everybody. Have a good evening. I don't know the time zone that you're located at right now, but have a good day, and thank you very much for sharing this awesome evening with all of us. And thank you, Ivan, once again for inviting me.